In Hebrews, it speaks of having this hope as an anchor for our soul. And it's speaking specifically of Jesus entering in behind the veil and that He is a forerunner who is going to take us beyond the veil with Him. That He's in the presence of the Father, and that's where we're called to be. And He says, this hope is an anchor for your soul. The knowledge that you will live in the presence of God. The knowledge that you get to be in the Holy of Holies is an anchor for your soul. It will hold your soul. I've been by the shore in choppy weather where the waves get really up and down. And it's amazing to watch boats when they're moored, when they're anchored, bob with the water and go this way and that, but they don't leave because they're anchored. They don't sit perfectly placid in the storm because, they're anchored in concrete. They're not anchored in such a way that they can't respond to the storm, but they're anchored in such a way that the storm will not have its way with them. And when our soul is anchored by the hope that is born in us because Jesus has entered in beyond the veil, what happens is not that we don't bounce when a wave hits us, but that we don't get knocked off course and disappear over the horizon. That we don't get lost and end up somewhere down the beach, washed up on shore. But that we stay where we're supposed to be. We may bounce a little, it may be rough through the night, but we'll be here in the morning because we're anchored. And everybody's soul is going to hit a few bumps. But that doesn't mean your soul has to break loose and run. Because you've got an anchor. You've got an anchor. And while I'm talking anchors, I guess I'll throw in my William Gurnall quote this morning. He said, hope without a promise is like an anchor without ground to hold it. I like that particular statement. I thought that said a lot. Hope without a promise is like an anchor without ground to hold it. You understand that throwing an anchor over doesn't anchor you unless the anchor hooks into something. Having confident expectation. Now, don't misunderstand me. It sounds just kind of silly on the surface. Well, why would you have hope without a promise? Well, listen, guys, there's a whole movement out there to teach you how to walk around with confident expectation without any promise or reason to have confident expectation, just believing that your confident expectation will make your confident expectation worthwhile. How do you know good's going to happen? Because I know good's going to happen. Yeah, but how do you know good's going to happen? Well, because I know. Since I know, good will happen. That's the way it works, right? Like, no, the reason I have a confident expectation of good is because I have a promise from God concerning it. And as a consequence of that, I can hook my hope in His promise and find solid ground. And where I have a promise, I have a reason to hope. Without a promise, trying to convince myself that I hope is a losing battle. And I will burn all of my energy trying to keep myself confidently anticipating what will never come to pass. But with that promise, I can hook hope in that, and now the promise feeds the hope.